What's up, kings and queens? It's your boy Dan from Dark Previews. I do hope you guys had a wonderful Christmas, and let's get into betting. We've got a large slate on the NBA today. The problem is there's tons of news on this injury report, so it's kind of difficult to get a lot of bets down, but I do have 4 bets that I have down, which I'm going to share with you today. If that sounds interesting, then let's go.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice and the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.
Before we get into the recap of the last video and then talk through my bets, let's fire up the comment section, lads. I do ask you to like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're trying to get to 20,000 subscribers and I need your help. You guys firing up the comment section does help me out a lot. It pushes this video out to more people. What better way to fire up the comment section than to talk about what you got for Christmas? Let me know down below what your favorite gift was for Christmas. I'll show you mine. Caught myself some Jordan 11s, baby. Check this out. Woo, mama. And I've actually got a jersey which goes extremely well with this, which you'll probably see in the next week or so. But let me know in the comment section, what was your favorite gift that you received this Christmas? Was it love? Was it materialistic? Was it a bet that you received? Let me know. I want to hear from you guys. All right, let's recap the last video, and then we'll get straight into the bets. So I shared 4 picks in that last video. Went 1 and 3, believe it or not. God, that sucked. Only winner of the day was Steph Curry over 5.5 assists from the picks that I shared on the video, and that was a little bit sweaty, if I'm being honest with you. Had a couple tough losses. Firstly, I'll start off by saying VIP went 2.37 units up. Pretty underwhelming because we swept on the NFL, 5-0 on the NFL, 4.2 units there. But on the NBA, we did lose a bit. Went 4 and 5 on straight bets, 1.86 units in the negative. Let's talk about these losses, though. Carl Anthony fouls over 3.5 assists. Foul trouble saw him spend a ton of minutes on the bench. When I woke up, I think that game was in the 4th quarter already, and I looked and he was doing nothing, was barely playing. So that sucks. He got real zesty. Obviously, couldn't keep his hands to himself. So I don't know if that was a bad bet or not. I'd probably take it again if I'm being honest with you guys, but that's the Karl Anthony Towns experience. Maybe we've been getting lucky that he hasn't been fouling out so much this year. The next one was LeBron James over 16.5 rebounds and assists. He finishes with 14. Anthony Davis goes down with an injury. I thought, this is it. He's going to grab rebounds. He'll keep doing what he does. And he doesn't do that. Austin Reeves, Dalton Connect, they grabbed the most rebounds for LA. I honestly didn't hate the bet on LeBron, but kicking myself. I should have just took the points prop for him, go with the narrative on Xmas stay. Obviously over-relied on data. The Golden State Warriors give up a lot of rebounds and a lot of assists. And for him to score points, the matchup was a little bit difficult. So I thought I was being safe. Clearly not. Points props was the way to go. Also took Luka over his points prop. Bet was looking pretty good. Then he got injured. So pretty unlucky, but a good read. But if I was going to be really critical of myself, he went into that game with an injury. Although it may not be a related injury, still, when you bet on injured players and they leave the game with an injury, who's the jackass, me or Luka? It's me. Also took the cum bucket, Jonathan Kuminga, over 14.5 points. We got hooked on 14. He played the minutes that I expected. He had the shot volume, 0 from 4 from wide open 3-pointers. He'd normally make at least one of those. Not a bad bet in my opinion. Unlucky to lose that. But if you want to see a shit bet that I made, it's this one. It's Kevin Durant over 6.5 rebounds. That was a bad bet. I over-relied on what happened in the last game. That was a 1-game sample size, and I expected it to happen again. I expected Phoenix to come back and play better. They did. For some reason, I thought that correlated into Kevin Durant getting even more rebounds. Didn't happen. He had a lot of chances to get rebounds, but he just let somebody else get them. Nurkic, Jones, whatever it may be. I think that was a bad bet in my opinion, so I apologize if you lost on that. I did hit a few winners, though. Curry over his assists, Tatum over his rebounds, Tyrese Maxey over his points prop. I spoke to you guys in the last video about Yusuf Nurkic's assists. I hit him for 2, 3, and 5. The 5 assists for Yusuf Nurkic was plus 1,500. Insane. He finishes on 6 assists in that game. And then these are the NFL picks. Lamar Jackson, Joe Mixon, George Pickens, Pat Frymouth, and Nico Collins all got it done for me today. So 5-0 in the NFL. I have shared my NFL picks with VIP already. I think I've got 4 picks. Thursday Night Football. So if you want to try a VIP, all you got to do is get an entry into the BETR and BOOM Giveaway. Sign up to either app using my codes, all the links below. Deposit $10. Send me an email with a screenshot of your account. If you sign up to both, you'll get 2 entries into the draw to double your chances. Once we hit 50 referrals, I'll give $100 to 3 different people. So links for that are in the video description below. Enough of me talking. Let's get into these bets, shall we? Let's go. Props madness, baby. We're jumping straight into it. This is the best player prop tool you're going to find for the NBA. I stand by it. I encourage you guys to check this out. 7-day free trial in the link below, and you'll get a 25% discount when you use the code DAFT when you sign up. The more you use it, the easier it gets, and the more data this collects, the better it gets too. So encourage you guys to check it out. I do have a tutorial on how to use it, and I plan on making more in the near future as well. So doing what I can to help you guys out with this. But let's talk about my bets. We've got quite a few games here, but as I mentioned at the top, there's a lot of game time decisions yet to be confirmed. I'll talk about that at the end of the video and give you some insights on what I'm thinking, but let's get through these 4 bets first. First one, we're looking at the Hornets versus the Wizards. Not taking an under on Jordan Poole, so don't feel like you need to panic around that. Actually going with Mark Williams today. Mark Williams, if you did not know, he was the starting center for the Charlotte Hornets last year. He was an absolute wagon to bet on. He's had some issues with some injuries. He's not playing in back-to-back, so we haven't seen him in too many games. Only played 7 games this season. But Mark Williams is a bit of a beast down low. So for me, I'm looking at his points and his rebounds today. Looking at over, I think I got this at 16.5 or 17. No, I would have got this at 17.5. Don't let me lie to you. 17.5 for Mark Williams. That's what I'm taking for my first pick. Actually, that was a lie. I just double checked. I did take this at 16.5. It's moved to 17.5. So before I get to the analysis, would I take it at 17.5? And the answer is yes, I still would take it. Now, the key thing here is when he came back from injury, he was playing barely any minutes, about 10 minutes a game. Over his last 4 games, he's playing at least 15. So looking at games where he plays at least 15 minutes, you could expect 15 to 20 minutes from Mark Williams today. And in those games, luckily for him, he's had some pretty soft matchups in the Bulls and the Wizards. He had the Rockets in there and he absolutely destroyed them as well. But regardless of how well he's played in this time span, this matchup is perfect for him. We saw him drop 16 points, 8 rebounds in his last matchup against the Wizards. That was a week ago. He gets to verse them again, and I wasn't surprised to see him destroy them. If you're just talking about scoring, let's look at his profile. 79% of his points are right under the basket. He also scores through putbacks, pick and rolls, and getting to the free throw line. This Washington Wizards team gives up all of that. If we look at their defense, the Wizards, they give up the 8th most points in the restricted area, which is 79% of Mark Williams' points. So he should be able to get a lot of buckets in a limited amount of time, just dunking on him from down low. If we look at his rebounds prop alone, his line's at 7.5. He's covered that in 3 out of the 4 games. So he's a rebounding beast. This Wizards team allows the most rebounds in the league. So he had 8 rebounds against them last time. The potential here is 10. There's a chance he might get to 6. Regardless, I think the points can also carry him over. I think Mark Williams has a big game. Considering he scores some of these points through putbacks, a lot of times he'll get an offensive rebound and then put that ball back in. So when you're looking at points and rebounds, you're kind of getting 3. Not every single time, but there's potential for that. So they don't run plays for him. He kind of just hustles, gets his own buckets. He's there for some lobs off LaMelo as well, but mostly a lot of putback stuff from Mark Williams. So I do like him. His line's relatively low because his minutes aren't high, but I think this matchup is really good, and he's shown us 7 days ago he could definitely do it again. He played 19 minutes. He took 12 shots in that time. So it looks like they were either looking for him or they were missing a ton of shots, and he was getting a lot of offensive rebounds. So Mark Williams, I do like him. That's the first pick I wanted to share with y'all. The next one, we're looking at the Miami Heat versus the Orlando Magic. This game isn't impacted by injuries, so I was comfortable to take a bet on here. And I'm going with my man Goga Bitadze. So for those of you on VIP, you're probably sick of seeing his name because I bet on him every single time. But it is what it is. We're taking it. Now, I'm looking at 9.5 rebounds here for Goga Bitadze. If you look at his season, 12 out of 26 games, not too exciting. But he's in the starting lineup now, and he's playing some heavy minutes. Franz is out. Banchero is out. They're normally their power forwards and small forwards. They're out. So Wendell Carter Jr. is now playing the 4. In terms of his competition for the 5, it was Mo Wagner, but now he's out. I think he's got a torn ACL. So they don't have any true centers in that team outside of Goga Bitadze, which is why he's playing a ton of minutes at the moment. Now, if we talk about his minutes, I project him to play at least 30, but if we be conservative and look at games where he's played at least 28 minutes, he's over this line every single time. 8 from 8, 13 rebounds per game when he plays this amount of time. Now he's up against the Miami Heat, who just happened to be the last team he played where he saw these types of minutes. He had 13 rebounds, 17 rebound chances. He was a beast. I did bet on that one as well. I wouldn't be surprised to see this line move to 10.5. In fact, it's starting to move to 10.5. Price Picks an underdog already at 10.5. So the question is, would I take it at 10.5? And the answer is yes. I would take it at 10.5, but you better be getting close to plus money for it. So what did I get for Goga? Goga at 9.5, I pretty much got close to minus 110 odds. I think I got minus 115. The odds have started to move since I shared the bet with VIP a couple of hours ago, but at 10.5, I would still take it, but you better make sure you're getting pretty good odds for it. But the chances here, what I like about it, the Miami Heat, the reason why I bet it last time was purely because of the matchup as well. He's going to get the minutes, but the matchup is great. This Orlando team, 6th most rebounds allowed, they give up. So that matchup is nice. They've been giving up boards to centers all season. So I do like that. Just check at some recent games. Dayron Sharp hit his line. Goga hit his line. Mason Plumlee from the Suns hit his line. Similar types of players as Goga. So I do like it here. The spread, we're looking at is 1.5. No Jimmy playing for Miami in this one. Interesting to see how they turn out in this one. Miami were winning that last game against Orlando by 20-something points. Made history by losing that game. So they should come in with a great attitude, but we'll see what happens. Provided Goga gets his minutes, I don't care who wins this game. So over 9.5 rebounds for Goga. I'd play it at 10.5, but make sure you're getting plus money if you take that pick. Now, the next one that we're going to look at here is in between the Bulls and the Hawks. Two teams that I love betting on and against. No defense, a lot of pace, stats galore, right? Problem is, a few game time decisions you probably want to wait for in regards to both teams. But the pick that I'm taking, if anything, if there are some injuries, it only helps this play. So I'm looking at Kobe White over 17.5 points in this game. Looking at his season form, 16 out of 27 games as of late, been somewhat inconsistent with it. But this matchup that he sees today is a fantastic one. In terms of who could be missing in this game, we've got Ayo Dosunmu, Josh Giddey, Lonzo Ball, all game time decisions. All of them are guards. So if any of them are out, it's only going to help this play for Kobe White. Now, I would take this play for Kobe White even if all three of them are playing. But if some of those guys are pulled out of the lineup, then Kobe White's line's only going to move up. So I think this is a perfect time to take the bet. But let's talk about it. Kobe White has got an excellent matchup here. Scores a ton of his points from above the break. 53% of his points from above the break. And he's up against the Atlanta Hawks, who are dead last. They allow the most points above the break this season. Now, if we look to see how Kobe White's played when he sees similar competition, let's check to see the bottom 10 teams in terms of points allowed above the break. You can see right here, he's over this line in 7 out of 9 games when he plays these rubbish-ass teams, averaging 19.3 points per game against these teams that allow points above the break. That includes 2 games against the Atlanta Hawks, where he scored 18 and 20 points. They weren't missing any guards outside Alonzo Ball in that game, so there's potential here for Kobe White to get a little bit more. Another reason why I like this play, and I've made this mistake a few times. I know that Atlanta don't defend above the break very well, and I've made the mistake of like betting on like a star player from the other team who scores above the break, thinking they're going to destroy them. And it's a little bit difficult at times because the Atlanta Hawks, as bad as they are defensively as a team, they have Dyson Daniels, who's one of the better perimeter defenders in this league right now. And I've looked at the previous 2 games. I've looked at the matchup data. The great thing about this play, Kobe White's not going to see Dyson Daniels very much at all. Dyson Daniels is going to have his hands full with LaVine. He's going to spend most of his time defending Zach LaVine, looking to limit his effectiveness. If Josh Giddey plays, he'll also put pressure on the ball, defend Josh Giddey. Kobe White's going to catch some Trae Young, some scrubs off the bench. Like, he's not going to have some crazy and amazing defenders on him. So I think Kobe White can take advantage of the matchup here like he has in previous games. And I think he makes it 3 from 3 covering this line against the Atlanta Hawks. So Kobe White over 17.5 points. This line has not moved. So the same odds that I betted at, they are still widely available. So feel free to check that one out if you like it. And my last play that I want to share with y'all actually has a lot of insights in it. Now, we're talking about Cade Cunningham here. Cade Cunningham and the Detroit Pistons versus Sacramento Kings. And I'm looking at his assist prop, but we're going to go through a couple of players as I explain this to you. So we're looking at Cade Cunningham over 9.5 assists. Pretty good odds for it. Minus 110 pretty much everywhere. He's hit this in 15 out of 26 games. He's hit it quite frequently, to be honest with you guys. Since November, he's hitting this more often than not, which is crazy. 10 plus assists. Now, it's up against the Sacramento Kings. Now, they allow the 16th most assists in the league out of 30 teams. Puts them right in the middle, right? So why am I taking the assist prop if the matchup isn't like absolutely perfect? The whole reason for it is this. When I went through this game, I was trying to look for different players to bet on, who's got good matchups and whatnot. And when I was going for the Detroit Pistons, what I did find was when I looked at a lot of their key scorers, like Malik Beasley, someone I love betting on, his hit rate is amazing. You're probably going to find a lot of people betting on Malik Beasley for this reason. His hit rate is amazing, and his matchup is great too. Spot up shooting and from above the break, right? This Kings team, 4th most points above the break. And to spot up shooters, they are dead last in the league. So my first thought process there was Malik Beasley's going to eat these guys alive. Let's bet on it. But before I did that, I was like, let me just check some other players to see what it looks like. Now, I'm going to put some filters on here, and we're just going to look at how they've performed against the worst teams in defending spot up shooting and above the break, right? I'm going to lock these filters so you can lock the filters here. Actually, let's just do spot up shooting alone. Let's just do that. So I'm going to lock this filter in. So as we jump from the different players, it'll save Malik Beasley in similar types of matchups against teams that can't defend spot up shooters. He's over this in 5 consecutive games. So I was like, I'm going to jump all over 14.5 points for Malik Beasley for sure. Then I looked at Tobias Harris. Look at that. In favorable matchups, he's over in 5 out of 6 games, averaging 16. So I was like, oh, Tobias Harris could be a good look. Then I looked at Tim Hardaway. Tim Hardaway, in similar types of matchups, 6 out of 7. So I was like, who am I going to bet on then? I can't put out bets for Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway, and Tobias Harris. The explanation is going to be exactly the same. The matchup is great. Their hit rate is fantastic when they verse teams that give up a lot of points to spot up shooters. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to bet on Cade Cunningham assists because someone's going to pass these guys the ball. And then I went on to NBA.com. I looked at Cade Cunningham's dashboard for player passing. Who does he pass to more often and stuff like that? And what I found was in their last 10 games, not Tim games, that's Tim Hardaway I'm looking at. In the last 10 games, Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, and Tobias Harris are Cade Cunningham's 3 favorite targets, meaning those 3 players generate the most assists for him. Those 3 combined, Cade Cunningham rattles off 6 assists per game over their last 10. Now they all have an ideal matchup to score points here. I think Cade Cunningham can move that rock around, get the assist flowing through these 3 guys. I think all 3 of them are good players. If you just want to look for someone to score some points, Malik Beasley, probably the person I trust the most. But as you can see through the numbers, Tim Hardaway, Malik Beasley, and Tobias Harris have been getting it done in these types of matchups. But for me, I'm just going to roll with Cade Cunningham, who's going to orchestrate it all. 10 plus assists, which he's hit at a pretty good rate. Why the hell not? But yeah, if you bet on any of the other 3 guys, I don't think any of them are bad players. I just thought maybe I could capture the research I've done through all those players through one, and that's Cade Cunningham. So that's the 4th pick that I like in this one. Don't go anywhere because I got some more value that I want to give you guys. Given how many games are on the slate, I'm not going to do the hit rate thing. I'll be here for a very long time. That's a lot of games that we have on, but so many game time decisions in it. I'll probably just jump through each game, probably pick out what I think would be a most popular look and share my insights on it. And then if we do find a bet, then I'll probably take that too, but let's see how we go. All right, I'm back. I don't know what I was doing before I left. My son started crying from the other room, and instead of dealing with my wife yelling at me, I thought I'll just bring him in here. At least he's not screaming, all right? So we'll go through each game. We'll go through the key players. I'll give you my insights, tell you what my thoughts are, what my hesitations are, what I like, what I don't, and hopefully there's some value in there that you can appreciate. So let's get to it. Let's go. All right, let's talk through the Hornets versus the Wizards. Who's going to be a popular look? I think it's probably got to be LaMelo Ball, right? So for LaMelo Ball, his points per ups at 29.5. He's hit this in 13 out of 21 games. The hit rate's amazing. He's averaging 30. My main hesitation at the moment is I don't know who's playing. Brandon Miller's a game time decision. And pretty interesting numbers. If we look at his games with Brandon Miller and Miles Bridges, suddenly he's only hit this line in 3 out of 8 games. Now, the matchup he has today is a good one. Washington don't play defense, but they actually defend the pick and roll very well. They give up points everywhere else, which is why I like Mark Williams in this one. So those are my thoughts on LaMelo Ball. Great player, hit rate's nice, but when you break it down to who could be playing, then it's a little bit dangerous. But if Brandon Miller's not playing, and we look at his games just for Miles Bridges, he's over this line in 6 out of 14 games, but you can get spicy with it. We can look at the teams with the worst defensive rating. Let's look at the bottom half of the league. And even in those, his hit rate's not great. So I think a lot of LaMelo Ball's best games have come when there's no Bridges, no Miller. Actually, hasn't played a game without both of them. What am I talking about? We're looking at his best games. Who was missing in these games? Bridges was missing. Bridges was missing. Bridges was missing. Bridges was missing. All right, cool. So it's the games without Miles Bridges. Yes. So no Miles Bridges. LaMelo Ball's over this line in every single game, averaging almost 38 points per game. But Bridges is back. So LaMelo Ball points, it's probably a little bit risky. Looking at his assists, his line is at 8.5. Now, he's only hit this in 6 out of 21 games. But if we look at the games with Bridges, looks a little bit better. 4 out of 14 games. Has he played a game with both of them? He has. He's over this in 3 out of 8 games with both in the lineup. But I think the reason why this line is so high is because he's up against the Wizards, played them a week ago, had 13 assists in that game from 19 potentials. A couple of those, I'm sure, would have gone to Mark Williams down low. So that could be the reason that's driving that up. Before you bet on LaMelo Ball assists, probably best to check the box score, look at some film. How did these assists come? And if you're confident that could happen again, then that could be a good look for you. We got the Thunder versus the Pacers. Man, I don't think a Pacers play is going to be a popular bet. But then we have the guys from OKC, and I think we've got to talk about Isaiah Hartenstein. Points prop at 12.5, rebounds prop at 12.5 as well. So his points and rebounds, he needs 24.5. He needs to get 25 of those suckers, which he has hit well on the season. He hasn't necessarily hit it very well as of late. I feel like the lines are really starting to sharpen up. He's averaging 25.6 points and rebounds on the season. So, yeah, would I lean to the over? Yes, but the matchup is actually quite good for him to score some points than it is for him to get some rebounds. That's because he's scoring 99% of his points in the paint. This Indiana Pacers team, they give up quite a few points in the paint. They allow the 6th most points in the paint and the 3rd most points in the restricted area. So Isaiah Hartenstein could have some luck down there. That's what I'm saying. They could. I think it all comes down to whether they can stop Shai Gilgeous-Alexander or not. If they can't stop him, it probably makes it a little bit more difficult for Isaiah. But if SGA is getting clamped up to some extent, then Isaiah Hartenstein is a wonderful option. I do feel like the lines have sharpened up, but if I had to take a bet on Isaiah Hartenstein, it would probably be the points prop. 12.5, I don't love too much. 11.5 probably get me more excited, but I'm choosing to pass on that game. I guess it all comes down to Miles Turner. Does Miles Turner play or not? If he's out, then yeah, Isaiah Hartenstein to score some points down low. It's probably a pretty good look. Then we've got the Heat versus the Magic. I'm already on Goga. Oh, you all right, buddy? Apologies for that. My boy's sick. A bit of rhinovirus. I don't know if you guys get that over there, but he'll be right. What do we got? Popular players in this one. Well, these guys just played each other. I think a lot of people are going to be waiting for some Cole Anthony props, but I think there was no Suggs in that last game. Suggs missed that last game, so that Suggs could be a look. He's going to get a lot of opportunities. He's going to get a lot of minutes. His matchup is difficult to score. I wouldn't say he's a good passer either. So there's nothing on Suggs I'd be interested in playing. But I think someone like Tyler Hero could be an interesting look. He scored 22 points the last time these teams played. 7 for 17. Didn't shoot very well, but he was killing them early. It must have been late. He fell off. Matchup-wise, pretty good in terms of how he scores. This Magic team are very good defensively. What they do lack is slowing down, or they do allow a lot of points to pick and roll ball handlers. 8th most points in the league. So Tyler Hero, that's his key play type. And with no Jimmy in the lineup, I think Tyler Hero gets a very high usage rate. So Tyler Hero to go risk points prop, that could be an interesting look. Nothing that I'm overly interested in, but I get it. I get the angle there. And then the other one for the Bulls versus the Hawks, I think you've got to look at Trae Young and his assists. Trae Young and his assists makes the most sense. Lines at 11.5. I think this will be at 12.5 by the time the game starts. It'll be a popular pick, in my opinion, because the Bulls don't play defense. They give up a lot of assists. Trae Young, eating them alive, 16 and 13 assists in the 2 games they played this year. I think the hesitation here for Trae Young is that he's a game time decision. We don't even know if he's going to play or not. So if he does play, then this is going to be a good look. And I think a lot of people are going to bet on it. And I get it. I support the play. I think it's a good look there for Trae Young to go over his assists. Then we have the Nets versus the Bucks. Popular play I see is going to be Giannis go over his points prop. 29.5 on DraftKings. It was actually 28.5 earlier on DraftKings, but 30.5 elsewhere, which is quite strange. But Giannis to score some points here against the Nets. He's got a fantastic matchup, scores in transition, free throw line. This Nets team, not good at defending any of the ways that Giannis likes to score, to be honest. So he should eat them alive in head-to-head matchups. 22 and 34 points against him this year. They limited him to 11 shot attempts in the first game. Then in the second game, he went off for 22. I think his assists were a bit up and down. So, yeah, I think the play here for Giannis is probably around the points. The hesitation here for betting on Giannis is the fact that Dame's a game-time decision. Giannis himself is a game-time decision. Chris Middleton is a game-time decision. So until those lineups are confirmed, I'd probably pump the brakes a little bit before we start putting money on Giannis. So that's my only hesitation, but the matchup is nice. Then we have the Rockets versus the Pelicans. And for this one, Trey Murphy from the New Orleans Pelicans is a game-time decision. And he's someone that I've made a bit of money on as of late. But outside of that, I think an interesting look could be Fred VanVleet and his assists. Now, his line's at 6.5, hasn't hit it overly well this season, 11 out of 27 games. But he's up against the Pelicans, who allow the second most assists in the league. If we look at his last game against them a week ago, he had 9 assists from only 13 potentials when they won that game by 20. If we check to see how he's gone against similar opponents who give up a ton of assists, let's just look how he's gone in the bottom 10. And he's only played 5 games against the bottom 10 teams that give up assists, and he's over this line in 3 out of 5. So probably that makes me hesitate a little bit. And Fred, he's not the only ball handler on their team. Şengün can get some assists as well. He had 7 assists the last time he versed the Pelicans. If we apply the same filters, bottom 10 teams that give up assists, Şengün hasn't hit it overly well either. So I get the play for either of them. It's going to be Şengün or it's going to be Fred. I just can't tell you who it's going to be, but assist play for either one of those guys I think could be a good look. Then we've got the Bulls versus the Hawks. Actually, we've done the Bulls versus the Hawks. But whilst we're talking about the Bulls versus the Hawks, the another one is probably more of a system play, but it's Nikola Vucevic over his threes. 19 out of 27 games this season, averaging 2 threes a game. He hit this in both games against Atlanta, 2-2. The line, the odds, they're not that great, minus 135. I'm not interested in that, but I completely get it if you choose to take that bet. It's an interesting look. Raptors versus the Grizzlies. So for this one, no major game time decisions. I just haven't been able to find a strong angle. But let's have a look at Ja Morant real quick. So Ja's got a pretty good matchup to score some points. The Raptors 8th most points in transition, the most free throws, which are his dominant play types, 52% of the work that he does. So he's got a matchup to score points. The risk here is the blowout, 12 points spread in this game. Memphis are the favorites, and Ja in blowouts doesn't play many minutes, so that's a bit of a risk. His assist line at 7.5. I'm not overly excited about that. The Raptors don't give up many assists at all. If anything, an under for Ja's assist could be an interesting look. I wonder how Ja's gone if we just exclude the bottom 10 teams in assists allowed. 5 out of 10, so nothing major there. It's probably just more his recent form. Doesn't give me much confidence to take an over, so I'd probably lean to the under for Ja Morant assists. Not something that I do want to bet on, though. Then I think another one could be Scotty Barnes. Now, Scotty Barnes, I think rebounds and assists is probably the way that most people are betting on Scotty Barnes at the moment. Assists at 6.5. Grizzlies, 5th fewest assists allowed. Then we look at rebounds. The Grizzlies, they're middle of the pack in terms of rebounds allowed. If you look at his rebounds and assists, though, he's under this line in 4 consecutive games. So last time he covered this was the 8th of December. So maybe that ship has sailed. Scotty Barnes, rebounds and assists. And maybe the new trend is to bet on his 3-pointers made prop. He's gone under it in 2 straight games, though. 0 from 11 in his last 2 games. Surely he bounces back soon. This Memphis Grizzlies team does give up a lot of threes. They actually give up a lot of points above the break, actually. So Scotty Barnes to get some 3-pointers could be an interesting look. Who else shoots 3-pointers on this team? Grady Dick. Grady Dick's line's at 2.5. He's got an excellent matchup. I don't mind that. You could look at Grady Dick, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett if he plays. I think they could all be interesting looks, but yeah, there's nothing I love in that game enough to bet on it. Pistons versus the Kings. Now, we did speak about a lot of these Detroit players. Quick word on my man Malik Monk. He's got a fantastic matchup to score some points today. The concern is that he hasn't been doing it quite well lately. But the thing I like is that the volume's there. He's taken quite a few shots, 15, 16, 17. Like the shot attempts are there. The problem is percentage is off. But he's up against the Detroit Pistons today, and he's got a great matchup. Firstly, how he scores. A lot of his points in the pick and roll, up in transition, yada, yada, yada. Scores a lot of his points above the break. 40% of them, this Detroit Pistons team, third most points above the break this season. So they're giving up a lot of points to guards specifically from a lot of outside shooting. So Malik Monk has a great matchup to score some points. But believe it or not, DeMar DeRozan actually has a good matchup to score some points. But so does De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox doesn't have a bad matchup either. So that's my difficulty with this team. I don't know which one of them is going to score the points. It could be all three. It could be none of them. But that's my hesitation betting on the Kings. Then we got the Jazz versus the Blazers. And for the Jazz versus the Blazers, there's John Collins, Keontae George. They're all game time decisions in this game for Utah. So I haven't really taken a look to see what's happening there. But I believe these guys have played each other recently. It feels like they have. It was 7th of December. DeAndre Ayton, been a popular bet as of late. But last time he played them, only played 17 minutes, had 6 points, 3 for 7. So nothing too amazing there. What else was there? Denny Advia. I've been betting on this guy with a lot of success this season. I don't think I've got a Denny Advia pick wrong. I only scored 6 points last time against Utah in 24 minutes, though. His matchup, it's not the best. As a spot-up shooter, this Utah team suck in transition, give up points in isolation. So if we think about who we're talking about here, it's probably someone like an Anthony Simons or a Shaedon Sharpe have a good matchup, I'd say. Well, they actually defend the pick and roll quite well. It's the spot-up shooters that they get murdered by. So we're probably talking a Shaedon Sharpe or a Jeremy Grant, perhaps. Shaedon Sharpe, he actually scores in the pick and roll quite a bit too. Not as often as Anthony Simons. I could see him going off, though. He can do some spot-up shooting stuff. And then Jeremy Grant. He's been playing awful lately. I wouldn't even say that this guy's been playing. He's been doing nothing. But he has a good matchup. So, yeah, there's nothing arousing out of that Utah versus Portland game. But again, you really have to wait to see who's playing or not. Actually, I'll give you another bet that I want to take, and I'll tell you my hesitation. It's in this Detroit Pistons versus the Kings game. And we're looking at Jalen Duren. And I want to take his under in points and rebounds. Under 20.5 points and rebounds. The reason being is his matchup is absolutely disgusting. He likes to score getting putbacks, and he likes to score right under the basket, right? 89% of his points there. The Kings, third fewest putbacks in the league, the fewest points under the basket. So if we were to look at Jalen Duren's performance against similar types of teams, let's just go the top 10 teams at both of these categories. And we can see here, Jalen Duren, when he plays in these matchups, struggles. 2 out of 5, 17.6. Let me get a bigger sample size. Let's go the top 15 teams. Struggles. Yeah. So 2 out of the last 7 times he's played one of these teams, he's gone over. So going under quite a bit. And the games where he actually went over were against the Miami Heat. The 2 games against the Heat, which, they do allow some rebounds. Actually, the one thing I wanted to look at was, it's not that filter, it's actually rebounds allowed. Let's go rebounds allowed. Top 10 teams in rebounds allowed. Oof, okay. That makes it difficult. Top 15 teams in rebounds allowed. Yeah, that's the one I wanted. So these are the teams in the top 15 in the fewest points allowed to put back and the fewest rebounds allowed, which is Jalen Duren's recipe right here. Under in all 6 games, averaging 11.2 points and rebounds. The only reason I haven't bet this yet is because Domantas Sabonis is a game-time decision with an illness. No one knows whether he's going to play or not. If Sabonis is in, I'm going to bet on Jalen Duren to go under his points and rebounds. If Sabonis is out, I'm probably just going to stay away from it. I don't know how effective they're going to be without him. But that's all I've got for you today, gang. I'm going to put this little guy to bed. I do appreciate you all if you made it this far in the video. Be sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, all that good stuff. And be sure to enter the BETR and BOOM Giveaway. $100 to 3 of you guys Plus, you get a month of my VIP picks for free. So go ahead and check that out. I do appreciate y'all. Catch you guys in the next one. Peace.
Sub to the channel cause your boy's getting busy. Coming to your line from the west side of Sydney. We've got the free picks and the juice on the daily. It's all free, you don't even have to pay me.